Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to the channel and thank you guys so much for being patient. I'm finally coming around to sharing my spring 2020 plant tour. By the time you see this video live, summer will have already started. With that being said, stay tuned. I will hopefully plan better where I will film my end of summer tour earlier than later so that you can kind of see it as much as possible in real time, because a lot have changed since I filmed the videos that you are about to see for spring 2020 plant tour. I have so many plants since I filmed the tour. Part 1 will be today, part 2 will be tomorrow for the front of my home plant tour. I don't want to have an hour-long video on the channel, which I've done in the previous plant tours. I'm trying to keep it around 30 minutes, give or take. So in today's video, you are going to see everything in the right side section of the front of my home, and in tomorrow's video, you will see part 2, everything on the left side of the front of my home. Enjoy part 1 of my spring 2020 plant tour and see you tomorrow for part 2. Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my home here in Santa Monica, California, and I can't believe it. Welcome to my spring 2020 plant tour episode 1. In today's video, we are gonna go through everything that is currently styled and living in the front of my space. Stay tuned for my upcoming plant tours. They're broken down in different parts. You'll see everything living in my studio in one episode. You will see my patio plant tour broken down into 2 separate episodes because I definitely don't want to do another hour-long tour. And last but not least, we're going to be sharing everything that is living in my bathroom. So I hope you guys enjoy my quarterly series on the channel. Stay tuned for the end of the video. I love being able to do giveaways during my quarterly series. So I will be doing 4 separate giveaways over the course of my spring 2020 plant tour. So without further ado, let's get started. Before I hop into the frame, I wanted to share with you what the front of my space looks like. I've been doing a lot of different clean with me, the little things that got switched up. I was able to add my subscribers plant stands in the mix, as well as my propagation station. So let's go from right to left and break down what's happening in this section. Here's a different point of view before I hop into the frame to share with you what it looks like looking at this angle. So as you can see, I have a lot of hardy babies living in the front of my home, succulents, cacti for the most part. We are on the right side of the collection in the front of the studio. I love that I was able to incorporate my subscribers plant stands, and most of the terracotta on here are from my subscriber. I still kept the style of my plant shelf here. Ideally, I would want to maybe bring it up, but this particular style of my DIY wood and brick method is a second style that I tried for the front of my space, and it's kind of just been living this way, and that's fine. But ideally, I would love to make another level, but that would require me to get more products at my local hardware store. So we'll see in the future, because it's nice to be able to bring up plants in different levels, and that's another reason why I was able to get more smaller plant babies in this section because of the 3 tiers. So a lot of small little planters in this section. So you'll see as we go through the tour the different things that I get really creative and thrifty when it comes to styling my plants. I love being able to do level changes, so you'll either see planters that are maybe cracked or that I'm not using turned upside down for a level change, and if it's hiding in the back and you can't really see it, I'll even use a nursery planter because there's probably going to be a plant in front of it to block it that you won't see it, to be able to prop plants up higher. So let's start what's currently on the right of this little ladder plant stand. I have a lot of opuntias back here. Now that taller euphorbia was gifted to me from my subscriber in Santa Clarita. I absolutely love it. So here's a part of my opuntia collection, and Tanya, my plant friend, gifted this big opuntia to me a couple years ago, and I see a little growth happening. It just got repotted, so it's telling me that it's happy in its new terracotta home, as well as this little opuntia farm here. These opuntias on the right grouped up together are from Arizona. I did a lot of filming in Arizona almost 2 years ago, so I love being able to have a little memory of my travels, and that's definitely something that I do when I travel, is buy plants. Down here in this section on the right, you see the pink ice. I believe I got the pink ice on my way down to San Diego in one of my come with me's. I have it in a low bowl, and if you look, I have a cup just flip upside down, and I'm just using that to be able to get it off the ground for a level change. I got some aeoniums here. I believe these small aeoniums down here in the right grouped up were from Carrie, I believe. And the ones here, right here in the center, these two larger ones, came from, I believe, Tanya. So a lot of my aeoniums you see in the collection are from different plant friends, and they got recently switched up to white planters, so just a pop of white here and there for the front of the home. Here we are, everything currently living on the ladder stand, and I love the way how it kind of turned out to be like a shabby chic kind of vibe with the white that I did over it. In the top section from right to left, I have this interesting, I want to say euphorbia, and I got it from a town next to Santa Barbara. I believe it's called Goleta or Goleta. There's tons of little baby growth, so that tells me it loves living in this part of my collection, and I have not repotted it since I did its first planting. So cute new growth, and that was like the only plant I got from that. If you guys remember that, come with me. Up here I have my little snowballs that were gifted to me from my subscriber in Santa Clarita. My original mother plant that I got a couple years ago died from the rain. Little planter came from my subscriber. A lot of spiders I see here and there. Is it like spider season? Okay, so up here in the front I have my little mammillaria babies. These are cuttings from my subscriber as a gift from Santa Clarita. And I have the little terracottas from my other subscriber, Jill. So thank you, Jill, for being an influence in this section of the collection with these little terracottas and these planters. Back there, the Indian variegated corncob came from Las Vegas several years ago, and I absolutely love it. Such a weird and interesting plant to have. And then up front on the left here, I have to research the name on this guy. Actually, it was struggling and living in my greenhouse. I finally brought him out here to be part of the collection. So if any of you guys know the ID on this one, let me know. And then the back one on the left came from a plant friend, and I've had that for several years. So that's everything currently living on the top tier of the ladder shelf. Ooh, okay, this is a very interesting section of the collection. So I have, I want to say, a crested eaves needle that lost all of its hairs on the back right here. And the interesting thing is that it was living in my white elephant planter for very long, and I decided to switch it up in my recent planting with Jewelyn for spring, and I think it looks great in the terracotta. I'll find something else to live in the elephant. Back I have another plant baby that I got from Las Vegas probably the same time. So the two bigger plants in the back were from Las Vegas from several years ago. Now, interesting enough, this particular plant baby in the front right in the small planter was struggling like crazy. I got it from Las Vegas 4 years ago, and I decided to put it in this little planter because I thought it would look super cute in this section. But he looks like he's elongated and hanging out, but he did not look like that when he originally went into the greenhouse. So I wanted to bring him out. He has a baby, so let's see. I'm gonna follow up on him in a couple of weeks to see how he's doing. Front and center, we have my very beautiful pin cushion in bloom, and oh my goodness, you guys, I would love to be able to preserve these blooms. And I've had this one from Las Vegas as well from 4 years ago. If you remember my big haul, I think all of those came at the same time. And then here on the left, this long interesting guy is a cutting from my friend Evelyn in Long Beach from her mom's yard. I don't know the idea of it, but it was a bunch of cuttings that she gifted me, and it's kind of living life here in this section. So if you know the idea on that guy, let me know. Down here on the last shelf, I have two interesting weirdos. I love them a lot. Got a ripsalis down here, which you kind of see ripsalis is thrown in the front of the section here and there just to give it some interest. And then I have this weird plant baby that I got from my Los Angeles plant show one season. I probably had it for a year, and I think it gives little hairs on the top of it. But you know, these plant shows here in Los Angeles is where you find these unique pieces to add to your collection. For local businesses and local plant shows, and I love being able to incorporate these little plant show babies in my space. So these are the last two on this shelf. Okay, right in front of the ladder we have some prickly hardy babies. We have my crocodile aloe on the top left. That was gifted to me from Tanya's yard, and I really like that style of terracotta that I have them in. and you'll see it throughout the collection. And I have my agave that I got from Pasadena Roseville Flea Market probably way over a year ago. There's tons of babies. One of my favorite plant vendors. I get some cool things from him at Pasadena Roseville Flea Market. Can't wait to go back. And then I believe this aloe here up on the front right also came from Tanya. So there's two different ones. So maybe like a T-Rex, I think. Maybe a T-Rex on the left and a crocodile on the right is what I'm thinking. And then we have an interesting Haworthia right here in the front, and you will see Haworthia spread out throughout the collection. I love collecting Haworthias. Not so much a lot of agaves in my collection, but that's just one of them. I actually gave one of the agaves of the 3 that I bought at the same time to Tanya, because agaves do better in ground, so I hate to see them in planters. So that's everything here. Ideally, what I would love for this section is to kind of lift it up on a level. Like if I could get another like cinder block of some sort and have them living on the block, I think that'd be so cute. So you know, if I could get more cement blocks, I could do these little level changes here and there. So that would be like my next plan for this section. Okay, so let's talk about everything right in front of the shelf. So back here you see my African milk euphorbia. It's such a cool plant, and this is one of my first cacti babies that I got in Las Vegas about 4.5 years ago. And if you remember when I started sharing my plant collection, then it was living in a teacup, which now my little aeoniums in my patio live in the teacup, but it was super small. And then it advanced to a white planter, and then in my recent planting with Jewelyn, I put it into this beautiful planter. So this planter was also from Jill, my subscriber, so thank you. And I also use pine cones from my tree that fall for little clutches for my plant babies if they need help. So I just love the look of it, and I love being able to have big planters now in the front of my space. Another aeonium. This one is an interesting one. I'm actually going to give it a spin so you can see what's currently happening here. This was also gifted to me from my plant friend Tanya, and there's lots of interesting multi-faces here. My aeonium collection is constantly growing from plant friends, and I like that I was able to put it in this low bowl. It's very interesting, and I just love having it right here in this section. So as you can see, the sun is hitting it, and it's getting that nice ombre effect. Right, next to it is my cute turtle planter. I got more aeoniums. I'm actually trying to think who gifted me these aeoniums. I'm not too sure. I'll bring it out so you can kind of see the vibe of what it looks like from the side. So here's what it looks like on the side, and I love rotating him. He faces in different directions. Aeoniums for a couple of years now. I don't have much of this particular variety, but very fun, and I have yet to see any of these bloom, if they do bloom, these particular ones on me. Right behind it is my Cressula Galoom. Oh my goodness, the little ogre ears, super cute. I love this thing so much. I do rotate him. He's living in a terracotta. So if you like that bonsai look, cressulas are, you know, it gives you that really bonsai effect. You can kind of trim them to look like a bonsai kind of vibe. Here in the front, I have my other agave that I got from Pasadena Roseville Flea Market in that low terracotta bowl. This was a gift from my subscriber in Santa Clarita, and I just switched it up into a terracotta planter. Things like this really makes me happy because this came from one subscriber, the planter came from another subscriber. So it's just fun to see me put them together and have them in the collection. Now, if you see here, I have planters turned upside down, either because I'm not using the planters or it's cracked. Do not throw away your cracked planters. Glue them and just flip them upside down and use them for little plant stands to give your collection some level changes. And you can also keep the vibe going with whatever theme that you're doing for your collection for aesthetics. I have, oh, look at my one of a handful fire sticks, and as you can see, there's some ombre happening to it. So the sun is hitting it, a lot of new growth. I love the pop of color between the terracotta. So you see here, I incorporated cobalt blue and white. And I just love how like you can immediately see it in this section. It's very eye-catching. So never throw away any of your broken planters. Just glue it together, flip it upside down, and then use it for level changes. Here's my San Pedro cactus. My baby had grown maybe half an inch, and it's living in a terracotta, which I believe was part of my recent planting with Jewelyn, repotting it into a terracotta. So let's see how it does, because it was actually living in a white Walmart planter, but I love it now. The aesthetic of it is super cute. Moving to the right side of the shelf, back corner pocket on the top is my night blooming cactus. I actually split up the babies that I got from Tanya, my plant friend, from her yard into two different planters, smaller, because I didn't have a big planter to fit all 4 of them in. And interesting enough, there is a lot of new baby growth on there. So if you take a look really good, there's a lot of new baby growth in each section. So it's loving the new switch up in the recent planting with Jewelyn. I'm really happy to report that. Here's another Crested Eve's needle. I actually got both of my Crested Eve's needle about probably 4 years ago. And you can see there's some baby hairs growing back out on the left. Poor thing, it was getting bald. And these also, like, their baby hairs can turn super, super pink. So it's one of my favorites. And actually, like, it looks super cute in that low bow. So I'm glad that I was able to take it out of the white ceramic planter it was in, because I feel like the switch up made it really happy. And then next to it, you see another mammillaria, and look at the cute tiny blooms. It's absolutely adorable. And I believe that planter was also gifted to me from my subscriber Jill. So it's so fun to see my little cacti babies bloom. For me, Aloha, I believe, came from, like, I really actually can't remember right now, but probably from one of my come with me's. I'm so sorry, I can't remember where I got it from. It'll come eventually, but I collect them, and if I see them, guys, I will buy them. I just love having them. To me, they're all different, and they're very hard to identify unless they give you a bloom. Then maybe you can identify them. But not too much growth on that guy, but maybe like that second little arm has that baby on there. I think that might have been new growth. Kind of hard to track growth on epiphyllums. Bottom right corner, you see my Grandicornis I recently repotted, and I'm not sure if he's alive or not. I know somebody in the comments said that theirs look the same, so I want to say he's alive. I just don't want to like throw him out, and I want to give him a chance, so I repotted him in a terracotta. So let's keep an eye on him this year and see how he does. Now up next is my Opuntia, and this one I believe is like a sunset Opuntia. It's interesting because I got some from Las Vegas and I got some from Long Beach. When I got mine in Long Beach, it wasn't labeled. And the ones that I got in Las Vegas were labeled Rainbow Opuntias. So I don't know if you guys know the correct ID on these. I like to call them little baby hairs. When they start showing up, they're really prominent in like magenta, pink, and yellow. So very fun to see. And I have a bunch living in my bedroom in Las Vegas, so I split them up. But for the most part, I think they look good together, and I did put both of my purchases into one planter to group them up as a family. See some interesting Euphorbia cuttings, and these were gifted to me from my subscriber in Santa Clarita, and I just have it in a terracotta from my other subscriber Jill. So I love being able to pair up my subscribers' gifts to me. I think it's so special, and they're doing good. Hopefully, I have not touched them to see if they rooted, but I haven't had them in this setup for too long, so I don't want to touch them, but I had to have them as part of my plant tour. Now up here in the front and center is my interesting, I want to call him prehistoric baby. I don't know the ID on him. He's been with me for probably 5 years, part of my Las Vegas collection. The terracotta came from my subscriber, so it's just fun that I get to switch them up, because he was living in a white ceramic planter that I call ice cream planters, but I think he looks better now in a terracotta. And of course, my infamous totem pole babies. I actually shared recently in my check-in the 2 that I had in my greenhouse up for sale, and I actually sold one yesterday, so I do have one more living in the greenhouse if anybody's interested. These were propagated from my Arizona adventures. All of my plant friends were gifted totem pole babies, and I just love them. They're very rare, they're very unique, although I did see them often in different places in Arizona for sale, but for California and Las Vegas, no. and they're very expensive too, and slow growers. I have not seen any movement from them or activity from them since they've been in the collection. So glad that I was able to group them together. They get to keep each other company, and it's my little souvenir from Arizona. So let's just live in life next to the prickly babies. So if you want a cacti that it doesn't have any pricks on them, this is going to be one of your go-tos. Here we have my original Stapelia. I say original Stapelia because my subscriber in Temecula gave me 2 big cuttings, which you'll see on my succulent shelf when I do that tour for the patio. I'm trying to think, this thing has never bloomed on me, so I would love to see my Stapelia bloom on me. I've had it for a couple of years now, and I got this one, I want to say either from Pasadena Rose Bowl Flea Market or Las Vegas. Okay, so top right in that dragonfly butterfly planter that I got from Eagle Rock, I have another cacti baby that I had for 4 or 5 years from Las Vegas, and then also next to it, which is super cute on the left, and I have to go into my archives and find the IDs of these. I'm not very good at remembering IDs for cacti and succulents, so if you guys want to chime in, please go ahead. You guys are awesome. I keep track of my plant babies and their IDs on my computer, and maybe I can go ahead and share that in a whole separate video. But these two have been living with me for about 4 years. They're both from Las Vegas, and actually this guy in the low bowl was living in my round white ceramic planter that my aeoniums are now living in, that I just shared with you. All of the planters that I paired that I got from my subscriber, I think this is my favorite pairing right here. It looks so cute in that low ceramic bowl. And then up here I have one of my epiphyllums, my rickrack, my zigzag. I believe I got this one from Long Beach, and I want to say he's a rescue because he really looked crazy. Like literally, he was not looking his best when I got him, but so I felt bad for him and I rescued him. He was the only one. I have several more mother plants in my collection, so I decided to kind of bring him here in the front of my home just to kind of give it some character. But I kind of want to find him another place to live life because I feel like he could be showcased better, so I'll figure out a better place for him. But for today, that is where he's living. And then right next to him I have another, I want to say mammillaria, that is living in a new planter thanks to my subscriber, and that was also part of my Las Vegas collection from 4 or 5 years ago. Here's an interesting epiphyllum, which there's a lot of new babies growing from it. It was gifted to me from Tanya, so thank you to my plant friend Tanya. And next to it is my one and only crown of thorns, and it's living in a terracotta now. I recently switched it up in a planting with Jewelyn. It's probably going to be happier now because it was living in a blue and white ceramic planter that was thrifted. This particular crown of thorns came from my Los Angeles flea market, which I love doing come with me's, so hopefully I'll be able to go back to more flea markets in the future. That would be nice because it's one of my favorite ways to plant shop and also vintage thrift shop. So it's currently in bloom. I would kind of be interested to see if I tried to preserve these in silica gel, what would happen. But for now, these are the only ones that I have. I know there's so many different varieties of crown of thorns that you can collect, but this is the one that I have. And actually, I think when I bought it, I'm not too sure if it was in bloom. Maybe it was. Here, hiding in between the fire sticks, is my fairy castle cactus. I love him a lot. Super interesting guy. I also have one in Las Vegas as well, living in a terracotta. Standing up here to get a different point of view, top right here I have another, I want to say, variety of a fairy castle cactus. I'm not too sure. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think what he is. He looks like a fairy castle cactus, but definitely different from my other one here. I always look at him and think like he has his own little skyline. Looks like some high rises, maybe like Singapore or something. Very cute. And then next to it I have Euphorbia that I got from Las Vegas. Big Opuntia rabbit ears is a gift from my plant friend Tanya. Originally when I got it, it was not this big, and actually it was bigger, but I always propagate from it and give my plant friends or subscribers cuttings from it as a thank you or a trade. So I always take cuttings from this mother plant, and I love the shape of it now. I think if I would take another cutting from it, it would be the one all the way on the left. but for now I definitely probably will give cuttings from my other Opuntia where you can't really see a big change of the look. In the comments down below if you were gifted a rabbit ear Opuntia from me from recent purchases over the past years. I've been able to give you guys a lot of free cuttings as thank yous, so I know a bunch of you guys have the rabbit ear Opuntia from me. On the left I have an interesting prickly baby. I don't know the ID on this one, and there is a handful of babies on there. And as you see, my tree does give off a lot of trash, so I have to go through the collection like almost daily to be able to have it look picture perfect. But I have a space for all prickly babies, and I'm glad that I was able to find a little pocket for him between these big guys. Up here is my variegated Joseph's coat. Now, he's interesting, very hard to actually repot because of its many arms and legs, and you don't want to touch this guy. Once you plant him up, like, let him be, because he'll start falling apart. He's the only guy actually in a white ceramic planter because I forgot about him. He was off to the side when I was doing my recent repotting video for the front of my home, but ideally I would like to have him in a terracotta, so maybe I might do that in an upcoming video. In the back pocket here you see one of my prized babies. This is my pseudo zigzag euphorbia, and I love the lemon lime patterns to it. I know when I first got this mother plant, a bunch of you guys were able to buy cuttings from me, so let me know down in the comments below if you still have it. How well is it doing? This is rare for me. I don't know about you guys. Sound off in the comments down below. Very rare, interesting guy, but I had to invest in him because he's just really unique and one of a kind. Bottom right corner here is my prickly baby that was a party favor from the Los Angeles Plant Club Christmas party this past season, and I recently potted up in a planting with Jewelyn. Very prickly baby, so I kind of have him to where I won't accidentally bump him and then hurt myself or him or other plants, so he's just living life there. And then I have one of my big monstros, I believe, and this guy recently got potted up in a terracotta. This is from Las Vegas 4 or 5 years ago, so he's really weird and interesting. He kind of reminds me of like a mountain that I hiked on or something. It's just very interesting. Another pink cushion that looks like is giving me some blooms here, kind of leaning to the side. I'm gonna have to fix him so he can stand up straight. Here's also another of my Las Vegas babies from 4 or 5 years ago. Here's my second AMAC Euphorbia Variegata. So I got this one from a come with me out in the middle of nowhere here in Southern California, and I love that I was able to repot it in a scallop terracotta from my subscribers, so I love the new look. But you will see in a second my original AMAC that I absolutely love. I love this variegated cream color, such a special baby. Let me know down the comments below if you have an AMAC Euphorbia Variegata and how is the pattern of it, because every one of these plant babies have different markings and it makes them really unique. And then in the back left corner here on the bottom you see my second set of night blooming cactus from my plant friend Tanya I've had for several years now. Okay, right in front of it on the ground and another cool planter are Euphorbia cuttings. There's actually 2 of them, and these are a gift from my plant friend Tanya as well. I had these for quite some time, and I think a bunch of my plant friends were able to get cuttings from me as well. Here's my big Eve's needle. Oh my goodness, he was interesting to walk back to my car with from Pasadena Roseville Flea Market a while back. It got moved into a terracotta from my subscribers, so thank you. And it was actually living in a Walmart white planter, but it's better now for sure. This was it was not easy moving this guy into a new pot, so if you haven't watched that planting with Jewelyn, you can see the way how I transplanted these big prickly babies. More aeoniums here, my Copa Blue chicken planter. Again, I have it up in a level change. Most of my aeoniums were gifted to me, so that's really nice to see in the collection. Up front here is one of my very crazy and unique ripsalises. Actually, when I took a look at him to take cuttings from, he's kind of like growing in and out of the planters. So when you get these type of babies and you want to try to train them to trail out, check on them, because if the trail lands back into the planter, it'll grow roots and then start growing like in that section, and then you'll just get like loops all grown in. Fun, weird, interesting. A bunch of my plant friends and subscribers has babies from this mother plant, and I'm glad I was able to pick him up. It was from like a come with me on the way to San Diego, I believe, with my grandma. I hopped out of the car really quickly, and this was like the only plant baby that I got from that come with me, if you guys remember. And if you look really good, I have a nursery planter just upside down to bring it up for a level change. And I either go for like green or black nursery planters for level changes, so they're not very like eye-catching, kind of blends in. This Ripsalis growing in coco coir and orchid bark. Epiphyllum that I have in a low bowl that I recently potted up. Actually struggling in the front of my house when I first got it, and then I put it back into the greenhouse in a nursery planter, and then I recently did a planting with Jewelyn to bring it out for this tour. I have it in a low bowl that I believe I got from Gardena, and I love this epiphyllum. It's about to give me a bloom, if you see here on the bottom left, so I'll go ahead to make sure I grab a picture of it. Really love epiphyllum. Behind it, burro's tails, donkey's tails, you know, these guys, very hard plants to like aesthetically have them nice. Unless you don't touch them and it doesn't have an accident, it'll kind of look like mine. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe in a next live or something, I'll go ahead and propagate the sections that are not full and nice. Top point of view, he has kind of trills hanging on all sides of it. Let me know in the comments down below if you have these guys, and what kind of setup do you have it in, because once you plant them up, you don't want to touch them because they'll start falling apart. But the cool thing is that you're able to make more babies, but aesthetically for the mother plant, it won't look as nice if it had an accident. So I try to not touch him, and he's actually living on a ceramic blue planter turned upside down, but I'm probably gonna use that planter in an upcoming video probably. So I'll just get like a big nursery planter in black and flip it upside down for its little plant stand. Okay, this section is getting interesting here. More Ripsalises. I'm trying to think where I got this particular Ripsalis from. It's living in a thrifted planter that I got in the Bay Area. Has little stars on it, super cute. Had that planter now for maybe 5-6 years. I collect Ripsalises, so any Ripsalis I see, I will get. Fun plant baby from a subscriber. This was gifted to me from my Santa Clarita subscriber. It's a variegated aloe, and I have another nursery planter turned upside down to give it a level change. So just being creative and not breaking the bank to be able to style my plant babies is definitely something that I strive for. There's a new addition, a lot of new additions actually in this tour, so very fun. This is from my plant friend, subscriber, client, Sonia. These are the silver spoons from her yard. Living in a cobalt blue planter. If you haven't watched my recent planting with Jewelyn, go ahead and check it out. It's nice to see like these muted colors in between all of these dark green babies. And I decided to put it in a cobalt blue planter because I think for like aesthetically the color pops better than being in a ceramic planter in white or say like terracotta. I think cobalt blue was the best look for it. So it's living life here. So thank you to all of my plant friends and subscribers for always gifting me babies. I love looking at them, and they're just very special because it wasn't like bought from like a plant nursery. And the cool thing is that I know you guys like watch the channel too, so you guys are able to see your plant babies thrive in the collection. Here in the back corner pocket, you see my flapjack. Oh my goodness, and there's tons of little babies under there. Isn't it cute? It's like she's a mama. And actually one of the babies are living on the succulent shelf when you see it in an upcoming tour. Tons of babies. This is living in a white planter. There's probably a pine cone probably helping it to stay upright. And this was, I believe, part of my big like mix planter that I got rescued from Southern California. And my come with me's I think is where I got it from. It was part of a mix planter. but it's so huge, and I think it's one of my biggest succulent babies. So if you haven't watched my top 10 largest babies for cacti, succulents, and houseplants, there are 3 different episodes for my top 10 series. Go ahead and check it out. This is one of them. Here's the star of the season, my Epiphyllum hybrid. And in today's video, there's no blooms because I picked the last bloom yesterday for a whole separate video that you may or may not see by now. I haven't decided which one is going to go up first. And I have a planter turned upside down, using it as a level change. This is my prize baby here. This thing looks sad because the way how I bought it from a nursery in San Gabriel, there's like, they didn't know how to cut from the plant, and the whole plant is like abused from cutting, awful cuttings. So if you're gonna propagate from a plant, take where you can't see. I try to show always on my channel how to take from your mother plants if you're going to trade, sell, or gift. Like taking it from all different sections and then not taking it from the bottom, you can see it gives the plant such an ugly look and it's not able to give you new growth. So that's very sad about that plant, but I still love it and I bought it and I'm glad I did. It's one of my prized babies. And I have it in a white ceramic planter that I probably got from TJ Maxx Las Vegas or Home Goods in Las Vegas. Down here, bottom right, I have my variegated elephant's bush, which I got from Las Vegas years ago. These elephant bushes are very finicky succulents. So if you're new to plants, it's a give and take. You may do really well with this plant and you may not. Let me know in the comments below if you have struggled with the elephant's bush, or do you find them to be fairly easy to grow? It's living in a terracotta, and I mean, my elephant's bush do go in and out of the greenhouse. When they're not doing good, they go back in there. When they're doing good, they come out. And then up here in the front, I have more aeonium cuttings, and these were gifted to me from my plant friend Carrie. I have them in a ceramic white planter now that they're freed up from the cacti babies. And these are cuttings. I recently did a planting with Jewelyn working with these, so I definitely don't want to touch them anytime soon. But it's definitely nice to see aeoniums in my collection all gifted to me. So thank you to all of my plant friends and subscribers. All right, so here's another interesting, I want to say cressula, and I'm trying to think where did I get this particular one, and I can't remember. I feel so bad now. But the pattern of it and just the interesting shape to it, oh, it's so stunning. I really love this particular baby. And again, I have it on a level change, and I see that it's a plastic nursery planter turned upside down, but you would never know, right? These beautiful fire sticks came from my plant friend subscriber client Sonia. These are cuttings from her yard, and this was a recent planting with Jewelyn baby. I just got them as part of a plant trade that I did with her, and I was able to give my plant friend a bunch too as a little gift from me for Mother's Day. And she has a huge yard. You know, these fire sticks, they do better in a yard instead of a planter, but I love the pop of color here in this section, so thank you, Sonia. This blue ceramic planter, I'll give it a little turn, are gifted to me from Carrie as well. So thank you, Carrie, for these beautiful aeoniums. I love the pattern of it, so cute. If you see, like, there's these maroon streaks in it, oh, adorable. I mean, you can go on and on with these plant babies and collect them all, and I definitely do. So thank you to all of my plant friends for helping me grow the collection. Ooh, so that was everything on the right side of the tour. I had so much fun going through all of it, so if you haven't, give this video a big thumbs up. All right, you guys, that is gonna wrap up everything for the front of my home part 1. Everything on the right side that is currently styled in the front of my home. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of 1. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video where you'll see everything on the left side of the front of my home, along with a very fun giveaway. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for daily uploads between the main channel Monday to Thursday and the vlog channel Friday to Sunday. You get a video each and every day. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye.